I remember the first time I encountered the works of Studio Ghibli as a child, as well as the feeling of wonder and fascination I felt about the strange world I was seeing that was similar and yet somehow different to my own. I sat in awe when I first watched Spirited Away, before hungrily devouring similar media to try and evoke those same feelings through games, films and television. A sense of wonder, dread, interest and mystery that encouraged me to not only look at the world around me but also more deeply at the person I was, the person I felt I was going to become. It's a difficult feeling to replicate, but the reason I bring this up is because I think Luna, the Shadow Dust, has managed to evoke the same wonder and love within me, and it's something I'd love to share with you all via this deep dive into what makes this game, the first game from Lantern Studios, a must-buy. It's easy to create an environment, but it's a totally different matter to make a world feel real and alive, something that your player or viewer would like to explore. But Luna does this well. With charming characterization, wonderful animation and a beautiful score, the game manages to breathe life into its world, making something that's not only exciting to explore, but also something that kindles the adventurous spirit within the player themselves. We want to see more, we want to know more, and we're slowly but surely fed more about the story through a mixture of sources that leaves us satisfied, but also hungry to learn more about the world around us. It's not just read out to us or given to us through heavy text dumps. Instead, we learn through interesting character interaction and wonderful imagery, which allows us to wonder and consider just where we are, how we got here, and what's going on in the world that we're inside. Rooms and characters are created with this in mind, with environments each having their own soul and feeling to them. They're as real as we are and they exist for a reason, each unique and placed carefully and with love in order to not only tell us a story, but also to serve as a message from the past, showing us that this world existed before we started playing and that it will continue to do so after us. We're a tourist navigating through a country that we don't quite understand, gleaning knowledge from the notes and items left behind by those that came before us. The music in the world complements this, with its lighter tones illustrating the very excitement and passion that slowly begins to grow within the mind of the player as you continue to explore and understand more about the tower around us. I really can't quite explain how much this touched me when I first began playing, and the first time I started to take stock of the things I was seeing. But as I began to explore and continued to learn more, this feeling only grew, and I became more and more enamoured with Luna and its inhabitants. They're unique, they're different, and they perform their own roles, but they also live here. They aren't just here for us to enjoy, they feel as if they've begun their lives within this world, and that their lives will also continue here after we leave. We're merely going to interact with them for as long as we are playing. From the second you start your journey in Luna, the Shadow Dust, the passion and love from the small team of 4 comes across through the wonderful visual art and beautiful animation displayed. It's honestly surprising to see such high quality from such a small team on their first project, but it also really showcases the love and care of the people behind the project itself. The story is told wordlessly, through the visuals around us, the hieroglyphic-like symbols on walls and in books, which allows us to feel not only like an archaeologist exploring the unknown, but also a traveller halfway between our journey, trying to discover where we're going as well as where we came from. It's through these deep and emotionally stirring scenes that we're allowed to feel fully invested in our characters' journey, their loves, their likes, their dislikes, and their relationships. It's very hard not to be moved by what we're seeing, and the music and wordless animation helps to take us and transport us to somewhere magical, exciting, new, unique, and yet somehow familiar. It's these relationships that really hold the core of the gameplay. We are investing our time to learn more about how we interact with others, but also about how we can care about others and how we can form bonds by learning more about the past. For the most part, Luna is a puzzle game, with each room in the tower an isolated mystery, filled with clues about the past and a problem to solve. Nothing is explained verbally and there's no text to pore through. Instead, we have to examine the intricacies of each environment before attempting to resolve the situation in front of us and learn more about the world around us. I was a huge fan of games like Broken Sword when I was younger, which means that the idea of being set free in a vibrant world is something exciting to me, but at the same time I was concerned when I first started the game. My initial worry was that without dialogue, the puzzles would either be far too simple or incredibly far-fetched. But the game toes a good line, with each puzzle difficult enough to provide a challenge and a sense of achievement when solved, but also realistic enough to get you really thinking logically about the situation, without losing your interest or destroying that feeling of immersion. The puzzles also serve as a window into the past, with each fine area a neat and contained little glimpse into what has happened before us. We can imagine the people who may have inhabited these rooms, the person who owns these curios, and again it helps to draw us into the history of Luna's world. Nothing here is merely placed without a reason. The items around us provide a clue on how to solve each puzzle, but they also show us a bit more flavour and background to the tower itself. For example, these paintings might be a clue to the puzzle at hand if utilised correctly. The game never stops innovating and continues to offer up unique and different problematic situations to the player, meaning that the rooms never feel stale and puzzles never feel replicated or the same as before. It takes a great deal of care to avoid falling into the pitfall of repetition, but Lantern Studio managed this gracefully, showcasing themselves to be a master of the genre with their first game. A beautiful and well-crafted experience from start to finish by a small team that started out on Kickstarter, Lantern Studio. Luna the Shadow Dust is something unique, an emotion-stirring game that showcases not only the talent of the team behind it, but also that love and passion, when focused correctly, can lead to something truly special. Evoking wonder and excitement, Luna the Shadow Dust is ironically a light in the darkness, shining brightly amongst other indie titles, as something to aspire to. I eagerly devoured this game from start to finish and know that the music, illustrations and story will follow me for weeks and years to come. A wonderful game that cements the intelligence and abilities of the team behind it, Luna is a must-buy for anyone who wants to be taken on a similar emotional journey, with clever storytelling and innovative puzzles lighting the way. It's for that reason that I feel Luna is something you have to buy and feel for yourself in order to truly get an idea of the thoughts, feelings and emotions it stirs in you as a player. Thank you for listening, and I hope I'll see you all again very, very soon.